2005, I got several phone calls from the congressman to meet out. You know, we had dinner, we had some drinks, and all of a sudden, Bob pulls me aside and starts talking to me about the investigation, specifically talking about the trip to Scotland, and saying, "You were the one who told me that this was ethics approved, right?"
And he put out his arms and he said, "Upon advice of my lawyer, I cannot talk to you." And I went, "What? We just spent 3.5 hours. Where are you going with this?" Well, and he just started and he was yelling. And he left, and I left him a nasty voicemail, yes.
You think this is all funny? All the shit you've done, all the lies you've done for Jack? You think this is funny? I don't think so. Maybe I'll call your law firm and tell them the truth about all the lies you have said. What is wrong with you? End of message.
You know, I had a heavy heart. Gosh, it was a very, very emotional time. Here's a guy who had given me a chance. I mean, he had been kind of the center of my universe for a long period of my life. There was a good side to him and a very hardworking public servant that had turned into a caricature.
Did I do things that were wrong? Yes. Did I do things that were wrong? Yes. Did I do things that were wrong? Yes. But I think that after Jack Abramoff went to prison and I went to prison, people thought it was all done. There was no other member involved with influence peddling. There was no other member involved with Jack Abramoff. What a bunch of junk.
To the aggrieved tribes and Native Americans generally, I say, rest assured that this committee's investigation is far from over.
I don't think McCain would ever have done it had he had the least idea where it was going. But he would never have knowingly pulled in so many other Republicans at the time when he was trying to get the Republican nomination for president eventually. But he would never have knowingly pulled in so many other Republicans at the time when he was trying to get the Republican nomination for president eventually. But he would never have knowingly pulled in so many other Republicans at the time when he was trying to get the Republican nomination for president eventually. I think it totally spun out of control.
Not entirely out of control. Lobbyists friendly to McCain, who helped the committee, mysteriously ended up taking over Jack's Indian clients. And McCain used the hearings to portray himself as a maverick, unafraid to speak the truth, unafraid to speak the truth, unafraid to speak the truth to powerful Washington insiders.
Ask Jack Abramoff if I'm an insider in Washington. You probably have to go during visiting hours in the prison.
And what of Jack Abramoff? He's sitting in prison where only government prosecutors seem interested in what he has to say. His action film life had given way to a dreary documentary in which, despite his testimony, all the big fish seemed to be getting away. All the big fish seemed to be getting away. All the big fish seemed to be getting away. Maybe that's why Jack decided to dress up as a classic Hollywood bad guy.
A lot of people are trying to make Jack look like this gangster who came in and corrupted the system because he wore a black hat into his legal proceedings, make him into the guy in the black hat. It's almost a cartoon. What Jack had been doing was what had been done before. What Jack had been doing was what had been done before. What Jack had been doing was what had been done before. People should pay more attention to the fact that we have got some enormous special interests in this country who are having incredible influences on policy.
Since the Abramoff scandal erupted, a few reforms have been passed. But the annual amount paid to lobbyists has increased by $1 billion, and campaign contributions continue to soar. In the last 10 years, no one has given more to Congress than the financial sector. As campaign cash poured into Washington, lawmakers went along with Wall Street's deregulating agenda.
Every senator pays attention to the industries with big footprints in their states, as they should.
What happens when you turn the state over to market forces? When you turn Congress over to market forces? What happens? These people do things like, they make it impossible to regulate derivatives because that's what Wall Street wants. Wall Street gets its way in politics.
Wall Street lobbyists were far more effective than Jack Abramoff. funding Democrats and Republicans alike. They paid Congress to deregulate banks, accounting rules, lending limits, and housing markets. It was just what the college Republicans had dreamed about, a capitalist revolution.
They finally got what they wanted. They got their deregulated financial markets, and the whole thing collapsed. The financial catastrophe, this is Judgment Day for the free market faith. For the financial catastrophe, this is Judgment Day for the free market faith. For the financial catastrophe, this is Judgment Day for the free market faith. For all these ideas that our heroes have been promoting all these years. And the Abramoff crisis was just, hell, that was just the beginning.
We've lost sight in Washington of what Congress is for, of who Congress serves. It serves the people of the United States. But instead what we have found is Congress serves Chinese sweatshop owners, Russian gangsters. Congress is now serving those interests. The thing is, it has become so accepted, so part of our political culture now, that it's normal. Your average citizen doesn't have the voice that he or she would expect to have, because these voices are much louder and they're much better financed.
This is a story about human failure. I mean, I don't think that corruption is a partisan issue. The corruption I was involved in was a human failure. It's an issue of power. I became just a machine, a cog in the machine, like, hey, get up, go do your thing, get yours. I just lost track of what brought me here.
Abramoff couldn't have flourished if this system itself was not corrupt, where the need for money, the members of Congress and their need for money, is so voracious and so huge that they don't have their guard up.
This has all gone into a feeding frenzy with money.
Well, what do you expect me to do?
I don't know what the solution is. I would have loved to have public financing. Here's your money, and here's your money, and you don't have to raise any. This would end all of that if you had a different system, but right now, we don't.
There's no place out there for graft, or greed, or lies, or compromise with human liberties. Great principles don't get lost once they come to light. They're right here.
I think the lesson that we all should take from this is that the price for a free society, I think, is to be vigilant about our democracy. I think the lesson that we all should take from this is that the price for a free society, I think, is to be vigilant about our democracy. I think the lesson that we all should take from this is that the price for a free society, I think, is to be vigilant about our democracy. They were only able to be influenced by Jack Abramoff and take advantage of the money he was offering because we let them, and take advantage of the money he was offering because we let them. And take advantage of the money he was offering because we let them.
You know, you said something earlier about whether or not Jack is a rotten apple or whether it's the whole barrel. And the obvious answer to me is that it's the whole barrel. Abramoff is fascinating to me because he is the idealism mixed with the corruption in one guy. The layers of irony and the spectacle of it all. You know, and that whole paranoid worldview where everybody is a pawn of somebody else, of some big power. And of course he is a pawn of big powers, of money. You know, he is not the evil, it's behind him. The evil, it's behind him. The evil, it's behind him. The evil, it's behind him.
The great American pastime has never been baseball. It has always been making money. This peculiar way, this part of the American culture, and with this peculiar way, this part of the American culture, and with this peculiar way, this part of the American culture, and we all hope, you know, that we're going to be the one to strike it rich next month. And I think that gives, interestingly, the wealthy interests in our society, gives, interestingly, the wealthy interests in our society, gives, interestingly, the wealthy interests in our society a huge leg up. Because every time some politician comes along and says, wait a minute, the rich are getting away with murder, let's take it back from them. A lot of ordinary people say, no, don't take it back from them, because next year I'm going to be rich and I want that to be there when I arrive.